Hey, welcome to Sober City. My name is Seth, and I am an alcoholic still. Apologies for getting this episode out a little late. I don't know if there's anyone out there that was anxiously standing by waiting for this to come out. I like to think there is, but there may not be. Today was a pretty crazy day of getting to be of service to some folks in the community and set me back a little bit. I apologize to the few of you that really look forward to this coming out. I'm excited to introduce you to my friend Mikayla. She has an incredible story. She is an inspiration for sure. She has been through it. I really admire Mikayla because she has overcome a lot. She has dealt with some pretty serious addictions and was very isolated. And she has really came out the other side and is a testament to the human spirit that you're never too far gone. If you want something bad enough, you can do it. For myself in particular, in the beginning, I thought I was special, as I think we all like to think. I thought nothing would work for me, that I was beyond saving. And look at me now, and look at Mikayla. And this is why I like doing these things, because there's a chance that somebody's listening and they think they've screwed up so bad that they're too far gone. And if you can just give the sobriety a shot and give it some time, reach out to somebody and be honest, it is possible. I say that also to those that have loved ones that are in the thick of it. I've talked to a few folks who think that their loved one is beyond saving, that they've given up hope. And that's hard to hear, because I know that no one is. And when they get better, they are incredible people. And so I always imagine anybody that I know that is in it right now, I can just imagine them being an absolute asset to society. And with Mikayla, you wouldn't know her past, because when you talk to her, when you listen to her, she's really just a joy to be around, and she's a positive presence. She has a great outlook on life. She has a good attitude, and she's doing it. She's living life, and it's just getting better and better for her. Pretty thrilled to see it. And I'm grateful that she was willing to do this with me. And I'm grateful to you for being willing to listen and share, because you never know who could benefit from hearing this. So yeah, life is beautiful. Sobriety is worth it. Thank God for today. This is Sober City. Well, Mikayla, welcome to Sober City.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You bet. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out here. And Mikayla, how long have you been sober?
I have been sober a little over 2.5 years now.
Right on. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And Mikayla, what were you like before you got sober?
Oh, honestly, I was just a mess.
Sure.
My life was just chaotic, and I was hopeless by the end of it. I didn't think I was ever coming back from it. I feel like as an addict, I like to play the victim mentality of why me and all this. And you don't realize until after you get sober that the common denominator with everything happening around with you was yourself.
Sure.
And yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? But in the time, we think it's everybody else.
Absolutely.
You're the victim.
Yep.
And when did you kind of start losing control? What was the beginning, would you think?
The beginning, I guess, I had been drinking and like smoking weed probably since, I was a young kid, like 11 or 12 is when that all started. And obviously when you're young, it's like, oh, this is just fun. I'm just having fun. I think I started losing big control. Well, I had a heroin addiction that lasted about a year, and I was a closet addict, so nobody knew that I was partaking in such things. And once my family found out, it was boom, went to treatment, full on support. I stopped doing that. But once I got out, I just went on a downward spiral with whatever I could possibly get my hands on. In 2020, I got 2 DUIs in less than 4 days.
Oh, shoot.
Pretty impressive. And then I got put on 24/7. And I don't know what this thought process is. It's like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to go do it. I think that's when things started to really go downhill for me, was because, well, I was on 24/7 and I would drink still every day or do drugs, cocaine, whatever I could get my hands on. And so in that year frame, I probably went to jail maybe 20 times. And after that, things just kept getting worse and worse. And I ran into some people at the time, and I think we were looking for something else and they didn't have it. And meth got presented to the table, and it was like, well, what the heck? And from there on, it was, down fast. Lost everything, everybody around me, completely isolated for almost a year. So that was probably the worst of it. Was after the DUIs, everything kind of just went completely downhill.
So what was the catalyst that got you initially to try heroin?
Well, I just moved back from Colorado Springs. A really good friend of mine was in active addiction with that stuff for a long time, and I've wanted nothing to do with it. And I met a boy who had moved out here to get away from heroin, and him and my best friend had started using together. And one night I was drunk and I was like, I want to try it. And he tried to tell me no. And I was like, well, I'm a big girl and I'll make my own decisions. And it kind of stemmed from there. It was just smoking it. I didn't ever seek it out. And then one night he came over. Again, I was drunk and wanted to get high. And he didn't have anything to smoke. It was actually drawn up into IV needles. And, I thought to myself, I contemplated myself like for an hour, am I going to do this? You hear those stories, you do this one time and it kills you, and I eventually was like, you know what, I'm going to do this one time. I remember I could see it right now, plain as day, talking to him and being like, I'm going to do this tonight. And if I ever ask for it again, tell me no. And obviously that's not what happened. It just kind of spiraled from there.
Right. And then you said your family caught wind, right? And you agreed to do rehab.
Yep. It was about a year later. Like I said, the only person I really got high with was this said person. And he moved away. And when he was moving away, I was like, okay, I'm going to be done. Because, and not to sound vain or anything, it was like, well, I'm not going to go to the store and buy needles. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't even last a day. And I think I had slipped up, left a receipt from the pharmacy. My mom found it. And kind of everything went into action. I had a warrant out for like traffic violation or something, failure to appear. My sister actually called me in on my warrant. And so they came to my house, they took me to jail, and they're like, if she starts withdrawing in jail, then we could take her in a detox. Well, that didn't happen. I had gotten high that morning, but next day they talked me into going to detox, and I did. Then they IVC'd me, and a couple weeks later in December, I was off in treatment. So it was just kind of full on support. We need to get you off this. It's, very deadly. I'm lucky that I didn't overdose while I was doing it. So I'm very thankful for my family with that.
Right. Yeah. And that was about a year, you said, of heroin.
Yep. A year heroin.
And how long were you in treatment for?
30 days.
So the 30-day program, you got out and you kicked heroin, but then
Yep.
we're still seeking an alternative, I guess.
Absolutely. Even in treatment, my counselor, I told her, when I get out of here, I'm still going to drink. And, and it was like, well, why? Well, hindsight, I realized, I wasn't ready to be sober yet. Then I was 25 when I got out of treatment there. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this. He was my boyfriend at the time, picked me up. He was sober. And we went to breakfast leaving treatment. And I got an alcoholic beverage when the morning I got out of treatment, you know? So, yeah, from there, it was just kind of whatever I could get my hands on, as long as it wasn't heroin, then whatever.
That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get out of treatment for heroin. Alcohol's not your problem.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right.
That's the excuse we make, I think. But really anything, any mind-altering substance. And then, so then you're drinking, but you're not doing heroin.
Right.
And then you said you got 2 DUIs and within 4 days.
Yes. I got 2 DUIs in less than 4 days. That was back in 2020. And obviously was in trouble with the law and got put on 24/7. And I've always drank, I never seen it as a problem. But once after that, being put on 24/7, I just hit the gas pedal on that. And it makes no sense as to why I did that, but I certainly did. And it just became to the point where I was blacking out pretty much every single day.
Yeah, your drinking got heavier. And then you also got into meth.
I did.
Was that before or after the DUIs?
This was after the DUIs. I think I kind of, with everything, did little stints of whatever it was at that time. It was the heroin, and then it was really bad with the alcohol. I would do cocaine whenever it was around. And it was a night of drinking, and we were trying to find cocaine, and we couldn't. And somebody who was around was like, well, I can't get that, but I could get this. And also snowball effect from there. It was cheaper, lasted longer. And I mean, I'm a full-blown addict. No matter what I do, I'm going to take it all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, no off switch.
Right.
Yeah, broken off switch, we say.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led to another year of meth addiction. And you had said you isolated, kind of cut everyone out, doing it by yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if I cut everybody out. I think my mind was, well, I had lost a job, and after that, I think I got into a really dark, deep depression while I was doing that. I had a group of friends, quote unquote friends, that I was hanging around that obviously were partaking in the same activities as I was. And they were around, but they're not your friends. They're, you guys have one thing in common. But I think I struggled so hard when I was on meth was because everybody knew, but nobody wanted to say anything. And I would just reflect back on how it was when everybody found out I was on heroin. I just had a full-blown support system. And this time around, it was like my family and my friends and all just kind of disappeared on me, in which now in hindsight, I realize, I probably wasn't the best person to be around. And you can only help somebody so much before you wash your hands of it, because you have to live your life. But for me at the time, it was like, why isn't anybody running to come help me like they did last time?
Yeah.
And so with that, I was in a very, very dark place, and things just continually got worse. I mean, I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror, physically. I was just, I'm also type 1 diabetic and wasn't taking care of myself either. And by the end of it, I was pretty much near death. I mean, it was scary, and I'm grateful to be here today.
Yeah.
All the things I put myself through.
No kidding. Yeah. I'm grateful you're here too, Mikayla. And you at that point where you're alone and depressed, hopeless.
Yep.
How did you get to the point of sobriety?
Honestly, it's a miracle. I mean, I still today, I feel like looking back at the hard places I've been and what I've been through to be here and have my life be so good. I mean, if you would have told me this however many years ago, I told you to kick rocks, like whatever. My life, no way. I think I had been toying with the idea of like stopping doing everything that I was. It was just a matter of time and when. I ended up in the hospital for diabetic ketoacidosis. And I mean, I was in rough shape. I weighed probably 90 pounds. And well, at the time, I didn't have anybody else to take me. So I called my mom and we hadn't talked in however many months. And that was the first time I had admitted in front of her to the doctors that I was doing meth. And I got out. I did use again when I got out. And then 15 days later, I was supposed to go to a follow-up appointment for my diabetes. And I had a manic breakdown. And I fell asleep in my dad's bed for 4 days. And I woke up and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I just stopped, which is still kind of crazy to me. I just washed my hands of it and took a step forward each day.
Yeah. One day at a time, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes 1 second.
Yeah, no kidding. In the beginning, for sure. When you say you had a manic breakdown, what did that look like? You had this doctor's appointment.
Yeah,
and that was enough to...
I think I was like, woke up and I have a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. And I don't know I hadn't slept again for however many days. And it read that it was high. And so my blood sugar was high. So I took insulin because I didn't want to go into this appointment and my blood sugar just be skyrocketed. I just got out of the hospital however many days ago. And I don't know if I read it wrong. Like I said, I was in this psychosis from the drugs for sure. In this mental state, like totally just not there. But I guess I don't know if it said high or if it said low, but I took insulin and then it started to drop. Like it was like I felt like I was dying from the blood sugar getting so low. And then I was just freaking out. I couldn't miss this appointment. I mean, I was like this meth-induced psychosis, paranoid, like almost borderline schizophrenic, and my mom had been like, we're going to get you to treatment again and all this and yada, yada, yada. And I remember telling her, I'm like, I could do this. I have the tools. Like, I could do this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I mean, it was just kind of this, I don't even know how to describe it to you. I mean, if you see like somebody on the street and they look like they're on drugs and they're having a moment, that's what it looked like. Sure. I guess. I don't know, when you drive by somebody, you're like, they're not all right. I was just totally like I said, it's really hard to describe it, and I could see it, but I was just a wreck, mentally mostly, and physically. And then you slept for 4 days. I slept for 4 days straight, and I woke up and I just stopped. It's honestly a miracle. Right. Yeah, it's a gift at that point. Mm-hmm. That was 2.5 years ago. What was the date? It's September 29th, 2022. Okay, yeah. Yep. And you've obviously managed to get to this point. Yep. What you said when your mom was telling you you're going to rehab again, mm-hmm. and you were saying, I don't need rehab. I have the tools now. What were some of those tools that you developed the first time? I definitely feel like some of those tools was obviously like getting away from the crowd that you're hanging around. I mean, it's so true, and you are who you hang out with. And, you might think these people are your friends. And it sounds so like bad to say, well, they really aren't, but they are not your friends. You guys are just getting high together. I had to, tell these people, like, it's nothing personal. I can't be around you guys. Like, I'd have to do this. I need to do this. And just being open and honest with your family, for sure. Like I said, they helped me so many times in my lifetime at this, they had enough of my bullshit. That this time it was like, well, probably not going to help you unless you're willing to help yourself, because at that point it's just enabling. And so my sister was a really huge point. I have 2 nephews and my brother has a daughter, and being a part of their lives is huge for me. And I mean, I felt completely just like they brushed me off for so long, and I couldn't understand why. And being with them is a really big thing. So having a good support system is huge for me. I would know what I would do without them. Some other tools. I've been to AA meetings, and it is very helpful. Even if you don't have to talk, you just sit there and listen. I think it's really great to hear everybody else's stories, because you don't know what you will hear that might coincide with what you've gone through and help you get to that next step or keep you sober another day.
So as far as tools are concerned, you kind of outlined a few there, but the big one initially you mentioned was just changing the company that you keep.
Absolutely. That's huge. I do believe you are who you hang out with, and getting rid of them, even though if you think they are your best friends in the whole wide world, that's going to be a huge game changer. Is just kind of getting away from that toxic environment, for sure.
Yeah, and it works to do it initially and be proactive about it, because as you might find out when you get sober, they end up stop talking to you anyways.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's like you might as well just come out and say, hey, I can't hang out with you anymore.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Bad company corrupts good character.
Absolutely.
Nothing against them, but of
No,
course, still.
no, not at all,
No, that's good. And so but then the hard part about that though is you really don't have any friends, right?
Right. That's how you might feel in the end, but.
Or in the beginning.
In the beginning, yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse me. In the beginning, but I mean, not having any friends in trade of getting your life back and your family back and your mind back, there's no comparison to what you get from taking that leap of faith into sobriety.
Right. And you learn kind of who you are.
I did. I still am learning. I think that's been one of my biggest struggles in sobriety, is figuring out who I am outside all the drugs and alcohol. It's like being a baby. I explain it. It's like doing everything for the first time again, because you're present for it. And I mean, it's a beautiful and scary journey all at the same time, but it's worth it.
Oh yeah, definitely worth it. And so as you're learning who you are and you're alone a little bit, or at least not socializing as much initially, what did you do to kind of bide the time? Because it's surprising how much free time you have when you're not high all the time or hungover or drunk.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, my first thing was, I hadn't worked for like a year, was to get a job. I got a job, and I think God works in mysterious ways, but this job was just so much fun and I loved it. And it was the first good thing that had really happened to me after sobriety. I honestly put it into working. People will tell you now that all I do is work, but so working and rebuilding my relationship with my family, that was the 2 biggest things. And I, took up, reading, which I used to do before all the drugs and alcohol and addictions, just getting back into hobbies that I used to like to do, for sure.
Yeah, healthy hobbies.
Yep, absolutely.
And you learn to enjoy them, because it's weird initially when you started reading again. It was kind of hard to focus. Do you feel like when you were first getting sober?
Yeah, I definitely think that it was kind of hard to focus on anything for more than, 5 minutes at a time, and just really antsy and maybe jittery. And you get addicted to the chaos.
That's it. Yeah.
Too. You know what I mean? And then everything, once it stops, it's kind of like, well, I'm freaking bored.
Yeah, you're bored.
It's like, no, this is just peaceful. This is just like normal.
This is normal.
Yeah.
You got to get used to this new normal.
Yep.
I know it's weird when you get sober, you're you just got to get used to just life not being chaotic. And you
Yeah,
almost have to avoid that self-destructive mindset where things are going good now. Like you got this job, this new job, and you struggle with the idea of accepting it or feeling like you deserve it.
100%. I couldn't describe that in a more perfect way. It's self-sabotage is real, especially for me. And I carry a lot of self-doubt. I feel like I've felt that way from a young age. And that's something that I still struggle with and I'm trying to get over. I had a friend tell me recently, she's like, from what we were just having a conversation, she's like, I think that you think you don't deserve good things. And it's true. Not just because I feel that way doesn't mean it's fact. Feelings aren't fact. So I guess I'll say with sobriety and addiction, using and getting high or getting drunk is the easy part. Once you get sober, it's like feeling all these things that you've been trying to push back and dealing with them in a healthy way is probably the hardest thing about sobriety as well. I do believe just, taking it head on, I suppose.
Yeah. And feeling things and being present, not regretting the past,
Yes,
and not worrying about the future.
yes, you have to forgive yourself for all the things that you've done.
Right.
Right? It doesn't define who you are, and you have so much ahead of you to accomplish. And I've also had people ask me, well, if you could go back and change all these things, would you? And that's a tough question because when you're in addiction, you do some pretty awful, terrible things. And I don't think that I would, because through it all, it made me the person that I am today. And in my journey of sobriety, I've a couple of my family members have gotten sober. And so it's kind of, it's like, holy cow, you don't know whose life you will affect by the good that you put out.
That's right. Well, like we've said a few times on here, sobriety is a superpower.
Absolutely.
And I think if you see it as that, then you're grateful for what you've been through and what you've overcome. That's a tough battle, especially with the drugs that you were using.
Yeah.
Meth specifically is incredibly difficult to overcome. And I think people assume and can try to understand, but what that does to your brain for life.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's actually crazy. You pick up little tics and stuff that you do while you're using that, I guess, like that your body just starts to do. Even to this day, I still have like little tics that, I won't notice I'm doing it. And I'm like, whoa.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is.
It stays with you for a long time. That's for sure.
But yeah, kudos to you. Yeah. And you're every day winning,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And also, like you said, you had family members that got sober, and it's cool when they can say, hey, call Mikayla, right? Like
Right.
somebody thinks to call you and open up to you, and you're able to grab that toolkit that you've carried all these years and
Yeah,
teach them how to use them and what you were able to do.
absolutely.
Kind of be a 911 in a way.
For sure. Absolutely. I definitely believe in generational trauma, and I kind of grew up around, the partying lifestyle, the drinking, not drugs or anything like that. But addiction had been relevant in my life, whether I was in it or around it from a young age. And so I do believe I went through what I went through to get to where I need to be today, as well as to help some of my family members in breaking these generational curses. And so it's pretty amazing to see how much good I feel like I've also not done for other people, but, inspired, I guess would be a good word for it, in a world where I never thought, what the reality of it is today is just, it's surreal.
Yeah. And like you said, too, you look at where your life's at now.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody had told you this is what it's going to look like
Mm-hmm.
in June of 2025, you would not believe them.
I wouldn't. It's amazing once you start putting out good, how fast it comes back to you. it was almost instant for me. And I was kind of like, what is happening? What all these good things are happening to me. But I was putting out a different energy, and I was starting to take accountability for my actions and what I had done to screw up my life, and started mending relationships with the people that I love the most. And I know that they love me. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, one of your tools was being honest
Yes.
in the beginning. That's huge.
Yep. It
Just
is.
communicating, and the honesty is probably the biggest thing. Because would you say you lied a lot?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Just even over the smallest things.
Right. There was no reason for it. It was just like a habit almost. Just
You just
became habitual.
Constantly. I know. And that's something too I noticed when I got sober, was just if I was late for an appointment, I couldn't be honest about why I was late.
Right.
Or, and I would think that that's a victimless lie,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the spiral, right? The second you can lie about the small thing, it becomes easier and easier. And that's where it's just like, I can't be dishonest ever.
Right. I'm guilty of that too. The victimless lie. If the smallest thing, oh, I'm gonna be late for work, and it'd be like, oh, my car battery was dead, but it's no, I'm just running behind.
Yeah, I
And then
overslept. Yeah.
why is my brain defaulting to this?
It's a default, yeah. It creeps up on you, and before you know it, you're, man, I took a trip and went scuba diving, and while we were on this trip, I got a GoPro.
Okay.
On Marketplace, and it was like an iPhone or a GoPro 7. Nice. And the dive guy said, "Oh man, that's old. A 7, because now it's like 13."
Okay.
And I said, "Yeah, I've had this for years." Just
right.
And I was sick about that. And I almost want to email the guy and be like, "Hey, I said I've had the," you know what I mean? But that's like how bad it is, where these little lies. But for me, it was so strange that just without thinking, I was like, "Oh yeah, I've had this for years. I just too cheap to buy a new one."
Right.
Like, he doesn't care. If I would have said I just got this on Marketplace yesterday, but yeah, you talk about default, but even that's what I mean, where it's like, nobody cares. He probably doesn't think about it. But for me, that was probably the first time I lied in a while, and
yeah,
that was a straight up lie. But that's crazy. Yeah,
it is wild.
We're deceitful and manipulative, and
yep.
And the other thing you said that stood out to me when you talked about forgiveness is, well, for me, we think about all the destruction we caused in our relationships with family members and friends, and we attempt to gain their forgiveness, but forgiving yourself, and it sounds cheesy, but that plays a huge role in when good things start happening to you, you're like, no, I can't accept this, or I don't deserve this. And it is because you're still in that mindset of Mikayla, you're not a good person.
Right. 100%. It's a daily battle for sure. With that, forgiving yourself. I think getting sober, you hear about dry drunks or anything like that. There's a lot of work to do within yourself. You got to look inside a lot, which can be very difficult. But getting sober and healing these parts of yourself that, you don't really like is huge. And in the long run of it, facing those inner demons or whatever it may be is going to give you longevity to your sobriety. You can't just get sober and, well, I don't drink or do drugs anymore, so I'm good. You have to look inward and figure out, why am I an addict? What am I trying to run away from? And why am I getting high and drunk just to fill this void? What's the void and why? That's I think is a huge thing for sobriety too, is the healing, doing the work and healing yourself, whatever that may look like for you, going to therapy or going to a 12-step program. Everybody's different.
Yeah, that's kind of the misconception, is that alcohol or drugs are the problem. But for us, it's a solution.
Absolutely.
So you've removed your solution, but you're not addressing the problem, right?
Right.
And so how did you get into addressing your problem? Or what do you think your problem is?
That's such a good question. I mean, I think there's definitely more than one of them. Going back to, we talked about like self-doubt. I had a great childhood. My parents did the best they could with what they had. And there was a lot of, my mom had addictions, and, I have a lot of abandonment issues from things that happened to me when I was a child. A lot of self-doubt. There was a point in my life where, somebody was consistently telling me that I was a lost cause and that I was never going to amount to anything. And, in some weird reverse psychology, somebody might be like, no, the hell I'm not. Watch me. I'm going to be great and I'm going to do these big, big things. But that doesn't happen in all cases. For me, it was more, you hear something long enough, you start to believe it. And I've always struggled with anxiety and depression, and, didn't get professionally diagnosed or treated for it probably up until I got sober. And a lot of internal mental things that I've had to deal with and heal for myself to keep on going in sobriety, for sure.
Yeah. Not believing the lies
Yep.
that either others have told you or you tell yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big part of it, is that self-talk. We're not very kind to ourselves.
Mm-mm.
And when you talk about insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that makes us feel super secure is alcohol. That's an easy one.
Yep.
Any substance, really. Anything to not let us feel how we actually feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I liked about it, was if I was going to a social event, any substance, anything that I could do to not feel like I normally would, which is I don't belong here.
Right.
I shouldn't be here. And just sizing yourself up to everybody in the room, and you're always small, no matter what room you're in.
Always.
Before I got sober, I was a member of the country club. Definitely did not feel like I belonged there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got sober, and then I started hanging out in the rooms. Definitely didn't feel like I belonged there.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, where do I belong?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel like I belonged at home. Yeah, it was very uncomfortable all the time. The only time I felt like I belonged somewhere was when I was by myself, and
yeah.
Just because I might have been the worst person in the room, but technically I was also the best person in the room because I had no competition.
There you go. I like that.
But yeah, I get you on that one. And you look at how you were raised or growing up, what that looked like, and you can kind of, and you go through sobriety, looking back and recognizing, geez, that had a bigger impact on me than I thought.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's crazy, the stuff that stays with you.
Yeah, the baggage we carry.
Mm-hmm.
And in sobriety, we learn we don't need to carry that stuff anymore.
Absolutely.
And once you start letting things go and start feeling that levity,
Mm-hmm.
that lightness, you kind of become addicted to it, where you're just like, how much more can I get rid of?
Right. It's that freedom that it gives you, for sure.
Yeah. And gradually it gets lighter and lighter, and life becomes a little bit more manageable,
Mm-hmm.
and you can deal with criticism better.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run into somebody that doesn't have a kind word for you,
Mm-hmm.
you're better at letting it go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like rebuttaling it, or just, not even, just walking away.
Yeah, not even having to respond.
Right, exactly. That's, I think, is one of your greatest superpowers. Well, for myself anyways, is just feeling, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think about me. Like, trust me, I know all the really bad things I've done.
Yeah.
What you think about me is, not even worried about it.
That's right. Yeah. And you build that confidence where now you show up to work, you do the best you can.
Absolutely.
And whatever happens, just at the end of the day, you're going to bed sober.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about that is you get to wake up sober.
Yep.
And you don't have that guilt, shame, and remorse when you wake up the next day, that anxiety and then that cycle of trying to numb that anxiety.
Yeah, it's a very vicious, and when you're in it, it's so hard to see the way out, but there's a way. And if you want it bad enough, I'm not going to say it'll come easy, because it doesn't, but you have to go through a lot to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's easier
Yes.
than what
Yes.
you're probably going through now if you're in it. Like,
Right.
it's hard to say because you're in it, but
100%.
yeah, stopping seems hard, but what's hard is, I mean, what'd you say you ended up in jail like 22 times?
I don't even really know the number.
I mean, sure,
but
at
at
when
least
you blew hot in 24-hour,
yeah, I mean,
they just cuff you right away, right?
Yep, and there's a couple of times I tried to run, I didn't make it very far.
That's hard.
Yeah, it was just, I just can't help but to laugh at myself, because I'm like, why did you even? It doesn't make sense to me now. But then it was just like, oh, I'm going to blow zeros. I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to blow hot, even though I drank till 1 o'clock in the morning and I was taking 99 bananas, 100 proof liquor. I'm going to be fine.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's insanity. You look back and it makes no sense. Absolutely.
None whatsoever.
And so how do you feel today?
I feel amazing. I have my family back. My brother and my sister, my mom and my dad, they all trust me. I'm a man of my word now, where before I wouldn't even have been able to go take my nephews to go do something, or even just ride in the car with me, you know what I mean? So I'm trustworthy. I am hardworking. I'm reliable now, as to where before, absolutely not. I was probably late to about just anything and everything. And now if I'm not 20 minutes early somewhere, I'm late. I'm just a completely different person than I ever was, when this is my true self and who I was meant to be. And I'm just molding myself every day to trying to be a better version of myself every single day, because that's what it's really about. And doing good and putting out good, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else.
Absolutely. No, nailed it. I love it. Curious if in the last 2.5 years, did you ever have a moment where you thought about using again?
Honestly,
like a really bad day, or actually when things are going really good? Sometimes that's when it creeps up, is when things are starting to finally line up, right, and you're thinking, I could try it or something,
I personally, there will be little blips in my mind, thoughts cross, well, what if I just had a drink? But then it's immediately shut down. It's like, no, I know that I can't do that. I can't. I think that things got just so bad for me at one point, and then the complete opposite of that, of how good things are now. It's like one time and all of this is getting taken away from me. So, to say that there's never been a thought in my mind, but it never was well, maybe I will. And then I talk myself out of it. It's always just been no, it's not worth it. I can never go back to doing that. It's just, I think I said to you in the beginning, I suffered for so long in my own, I did it to myself. I suffered so long in my own demise that I just woke up one day and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I'm going to die. And I don't want to die. And I definitely don't want to die like this. This is one thing I always say to people if we get to talking about sobriety. Everything up until sobriety was hard for me. And then it was just I got sober and things just got so much easier. And it kind of not downplays all the things I went through, but everything leading up until that, September 29th was hell on earth, literally. And I went through that multiple times, and I just, for myself, was like, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. Can't ever do it again. That thought in my mind of, well, maybe I'm okay. It's no, I know that I'm not okay, considering how many substances I went through, and just each time got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and you think it's generally, alcohol that kind of makes you think maybe. I mean, not often, and it's a fleeting thought, but
Yes.
because I think for addicts, I think the hard thing, like when you got out of treatment for heroin,
Mm-hmm.
you got a Bloody Mary or whatever
Yeah.
the next day
Yeah.
after getting out, or that day, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I think as addicts, I would wonder if they're like, well, at least it's not meth.
Right. I mean,
Same thing with heroin, right?
that was mine thing. Was like, well, I'm not doing heroin anymore.
Yeah, this is legal.
Right. This is legal. It's so sociably acceptable. And yeah, what I was really doing was just trading it.
Yeah. And one thing you notice, you were drunk every time you tried any of those substances, right?
Yeah.
You would never do it sober.
Yeah, it's never just a one and done thing. It's
kind of the segue into something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. And you're a server.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wait tables.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking's a big part of the server
right.
lifestyle.
Right.
And it's still not an issue.
No.
After work, everybody's belly up, right?
Most of the time, most places, it's actually wild. So most of the people that I work with right now are either sober or just, it's just not their thing, or they're responsible drinkers, which is wild to me. It's like, well, why couldn't I have been like that? You could have one glass of wine and go home.
Right. Yeah, it's strange.
Right. So I feel like the people that I work with right now are, it's a really great community for me. I've also noticed I'm employed at another place, but I'm just still on their payroll. Let's say that. I don't go there often. But I've noticed with this younger generation is that it's not really like their thing anymore. I mean, even 5-6 years ago, same place, we'd all get off work and we'd go to one of the local bars and get shit-faced. And that was just what we did as in that industry. And I'm noticing more now than ever that it's, drinking isn't such a prominent thing, which I love to see.
That's true. I agree. I've noticed that too.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to younger kids, and yeah, drinking's just why alcohol is just not a priority, which is strange because when I was younger, everything had to have alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
And when I talk to some of these kids, they're like, yeah, we don't really drink, or they talk about going cliff jumping. And I'm like, oh, well, you drink, right?
Gotta get a dirty 30 Keystone Light and
hike that 30 rack
right
down there. And no, which is awesome. That's how it should be. And I'm hoping alcohol is now getting to be seen for what it is, which is a toxic poison.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
causes more types of cancer than cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, it's just no amount of alcohol is a good amount. And so I'm hoping by the time my kids are older, we'll see alcohol as kind of like smoking is now when you see somebody smoking a cigarette.
Right, absolutely. I really hope so too. It's speaking that I don't have any kids, but to compare what I seen growing up to what my niece and my nephews are growing up, it was like, oh, always a party with our parents and their friends and stuff. And yeah, we were there hanging out and they'd be drinking and that was normal. And now that I see my nephews and my niece growing up and it's never around them, and it's like completely would be an abnormal thing for them to be around. So it's just in that difference. And I truly believe the environment that you're around really molds who you are. And so it's really cool to see that. I feel, my generation or older are healing from maybe what they were around when they were kids and putting out a new norm. Well, I mean, drinking isn't normal like that, but.
No, but it is a new norm, right?
Yeah.
It was normalized for us to a degree.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And so it is a new norm. I agree. That's awesome. We were talking about coworkers. You work with my buddy Kyle, who was episode 10. So shout out to Kyle. And that's kind of how we connected. But and that helps too if you have one sober buddy in the crew. And Kyle's a good one for sure.
Absolutely. He's big inspiration for sure. And I was there when we were working together again when all those things happened.
When he
He went
almost
to the
died.
hospital and everything,
Yeah.
and it was. I can imagine what it was for him. It was scary for all of us around him, and
Truly.
I'm so proud of him.
Absolutely, me too. Proud of you too, Mikayla. I appreciate you coming by, and keep up the great work.